DDP, ENT, we the realest over here. It's your boy T-WillDaprince, and I'm here with my first episode. Just to give y'all a little breakdown on my channel. This pod, the DDP-Podcast, is pretty much going to be about, it's going to be pretty random. I'm going to start off by doing random news clips that happen throughout our nation, throughout the U.S. I'm going to bring y'all clips from different states, different cities, not just your own backyard, because most people, I'm starting to realize, they only care about their own local news, or they only care about the mainstream news, like what ABC, Fox, CNN, NBC, what they put on like primetime news. And from my years of watching news, I'm realizing that, now that we got the internet, and every station pretty much has their own YouTube channel, I'm starting to realize that there are more instances and more things that are going on around me that I would never have known about. So instead of looking at my local news, I pay attention to that too, believe me, because that affects me directly. But shoot, I might want to know what's going on in Houston or Philly or New York or Cali, Florida. You know what I mean? You still want to know what else is going on. You might be getting ready to take a trip to a certain part of one of those cities, and you're like, oh, man, shit, I don't know if I want to go now. It's wild out there. I'm going to leave the decision up to you. But that's pretty much what this podcast is going to be about, different news clips, giving my reaction on each one of them individually. Down the line, we'll probably do some other stuff. Some hip-hop stuff, because I'm a hip-hop guy. But right now, I want to introduce this idea to the YouTube world, because I feel like this is an underrated lane, and I feel like it's informative, and it really helps the listener or the viewer stay up on different things that are going on, basically, in the U.S. So we'll start with the first video right here. And like I said, remember, this is going to be random. And I want it to be random. That way it keeps the channel fresh. I don't want to be on here having to do a whole bunch of research and make everything all pretty. No, y'all my family. Y'all coming in. Y'all going to sit down and chill with me for maybe 20, 30 minutes, a video. And I'm going to make a little collage, and we'll just look at different clips. If you got any opinions or comments, you can definitely leave them below. If any of this affects you directly and you may be close to one of these situations, please leave a comment and inform us on what you know about the situation, being as though it pretty much happened in your city and you may have been around at the time. It all helps. We're a community that just want to keep our eyes and ears open. We want to use our third eye, and we want to be aware of everything, not just what's going on Instagram, not just what's going on Facebook and stuff like that. We want to be aware of everything. So let's start. Let's go to Colorado. It says a massive money heist fails in Colorado due to the weight of the cash. Come on, y'all. Let's go.
New right now at 10 o'clock, a man who was once an All-American with eyes on the NFL just got out of jail after a meticulously planned armed robbery. I was going to score him more than $1 million in cash.
Your investigator Brian Moss spent months looking into this heist and learned the only reason it fell apart is because $1 million weighs a lot more than you might think.
I know y'all heard that. They said he was an All-American with dreams of going to the NFL. I mean, sometimes those dreams don't work out. You got to take another route.
Rebel Cash Sheriff's Office! Police! If you steal $1.2 million in cash and use a gun, come out with your hands up! This is the response you can expect. Sheriff's Office, you in there?
And they had planned this for 6 months. They even knew the exact day to hit when the most amount of money was going to be coming in.
I was just robbed at gunpoint at my place of work.
It was December 1st, 2021, when this cash transport company in Arapahoe County was hit. They collect cash from marijuana businesses around the state, then bring it back to their headquarters.
It was a small handgun, maybe a 22, and he cocked it. And we have a ton of cameras in this garage. It will all be on camera.
And it was all on tape. The heist recorded by half a dozen cameras. The transport van, stuffed with money, pulls in. A lone gunman dressed head to toe in black, wearing a mask and gloves, walks in after. He
Chat, 1.2 million he tried to get off them. So I don't blame him, because this was a nice amount of money. If you're going to risk your life and, go to jail, potentially get shot during the robbery by either security or the police, I mean, that's up to you. 1.2 mil was a decent amount, because there's motherfuckers that's out there that'll crash out for way, 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 way less than that. And another thing to think about is, as far as we know, it's only him, and he used a 22 to do it. And if you know anything about guns, a 22 caliber bullet or a 22 caliber gun is one of the smaller guns. Now, they'll still do damage for sure, because 22 bullets have a way of bouncing around in you. Like, once they enter you, they may not exit. They may hit a bone and ricochet and go through another part of your body. So with those bullets, they do a lot of internal damage. But let's keep going.
catches the delivery driver by surprise and holds her at gunpoint, forcing her to put over $1.2 million cash into 2 garbage bags. He struggles with the bags, but then runs off into the night.
Man, I thought I was tired.
Right? Nothing like this to wake you up.
It was orchestrated perfectly. He knew exactly what he was doing. The way he entered into the garage, the way he went around the van, the way he contacted the victim, the way he ordered the victim around. I mean, it went like clockwork because he knew exactly what to do.
Arapahoe County Sheriff Sergeant Brett Kahn oversaw the investigation.
Every square inch of his body was covered in black.
Who was that gunman who tried so hard to conceal his identity? Turns out the 35-year-old man behind the mask was Devin Aguilar, who'd been a star football player at Colorado's Mullen High School, where he was a second-team All-American.
Quick throw, Aguilar, the catch.
He went on to star at the University of Washington, setting records for catches and receiving yards.
The extra contact afterwards.
Aguilar got NFL tryouts, including with the Tennessee Titans, although he was never picked up. But how did Aguilar know so much about this business and the piles of cash that he'd find?
You don't know anybody that might have been involved in the robbery, right?
No.
They didn't know?
Aguilar had an intimate relationship with Fawn Hoya, she said. She was the transport business's lead teller, who repeatedly lied.
Wow. Damn, Chad. He tried out for the Titans and everything. Like I said, man, sometimes your dream don't work out and you got to pivot. But damn. Hey, funny thing is, he a football player too. And I'm like, damn, he trying to steal 1.2 mil. I mean, I guess you have to have 1.2 mil to know how much it weighs. But Cuz was a football player, and it still seemed like he was struggling carrying the money. And on top of that, it was in 2 different bags. Like, I'm thinking to myself, damn, 1.2 mil might, the way he was struggling, man, them bags was probably like 80, 90 pounds. Like, he was a football player, though. Maybe, mind you, he was like a wide receiver, so, But them boys, they weight train and stuff like that. He was struggling. That's crazy. And then look at his accomplice was. Now he was just messing with her to get this bag, to come up on this lick. There's no way. Come on, cuz. And she looked like the type that would go for it too. But she probably gonna tell. Let's keep listening.
To investigators.
There's intimate details about this robbery that he would have only obtained from somebody that works here. And that is you.
But faced with evidence of her involvement, Hoya eventually flipped on Aguilar, allowing investigators to listen in on a phone call.
They know that it's you.
Don't worry about it.
Just let it play out.
It's 100% inside job.
Investigators say Aguilar's planning, detailed in notes police later recovered from Hoya's phone, might have worked, except for one thing.
He couldn't carry the money. It was too heavy for him. They didn't calculate the weight.
You see, $1,224,785.35 in cash is a heavy lift.
But you can see money back there. Yeah, look at that.
Unable to carry the cash, the 6'1", 190-pound Aguilar dropped it 700 yards from the business.
Does it look like there's a bunch of it in there? Oh, yeah. They're full.
And the gloves he was wearing that night to protect his identity, he stashed them inside the trash bags.
You left your gloves, dumbass.
But how would they know that's me?
They were placed in the bag and they were sent off, and we got a DNA hit.
Anything else you want us to grab out of the car?
The DNA on the gloves matched with Aguilar, who was also wanted for a burglary in Adams County. He'd later plead guilty to theft and armed robbery for this heist. Prosecutors asked the judge to give Aguilar 15 to 20 years in prison. Instead, Judge Joseph Whitfield sentenced the former football star to 1 year in county jail and 8 years probation. He served 7 months and was released September 2nd.
We're disappointed in the sentencing. It is not what we believe the suspect deserved, and we do not believe that the victims got the justice that they deserved.
Khan says the female victim has severe anxiety and will be traumatized for the rest of her life.
People are always going to break the law, and people are always going to do things dumb.
Afan Hoya pled guilty to armed robbery.
Oh, hell nah, Chet. Oh, hell nah. Where is this at? Colorado? Man, they about to have so much more crime that's close to this. So 1.2 million, you steal it. Okay, boom. You get 1 year prison time, do 7 months. And then you get 8 years probation. 8 years probation, now that's rough. Now that's rough for sure. But that's way better than doing jail time. So I'm like, this is amazing. You do 7 months for stealing 1.2 mil? Is it because it was too heavy and he dropped it so he didn't get away with it? Or that judge was just like, he just loved that football team, that his high school team, and he just had love for him and his family. I mean, but that's insane. But this is literally a case of having no brain and no brawn. Not only was you not smart enough to get away with the money, you wasn't even strong enough to get away with the money. Boy, you about as dumb as you look. Man, that's a goddamn shame, man. Anyway, chat. That was the first video right there. We're going to hurry up and move on. See what else we got out here. See what else piques our interest. You know? Oh, no. Man, he out here stealing. Let's see what's up with this retard, man. He out here stealing people.
But now the details. Tonight, there are new images of the suspect behind a series of reported assaults in Fishtown. Philadelphia police have been looking into at least 2 incidents where the offender groped unsuspecting victims. One of them was 13 years old. Action News reporter Annie McCormick joins us live in Fishtown. Annie, authorities have identified a suspect.
Oh, yeah. He going to cell block 1, like Kendrick said. And if you did any time, man, you already know. Once you get that check in your box, man, that's a wrap. And everybody know what I mean. When you get booked and you go to prison, you know, stuff like that, county. We're not talking just a little jail cell and then you go right back home in like an hour or 2. No, we're talking about going to the penitentiary or the prison or the feds. You get your intake paperwork, and if you have a check in your box, which means that you're in there for being a PDF, or you're in there for trafficking or stealing people, whew, the big dogs don't play about that, man.
Yeah, and Christy, late today, Philadelphia police identified a suspect in at least 2 cases, but neighbors around this area of Fishtown say that they believe he's actually connected to even more. Police are looking for this man, 29-year-old Noel Vargas. He's facing harassment and assault charges. Those screams were captured by one of the doorbell cameras on the 1500 block of Montgomery Avenue in Fishtown last Friday morning. Police believe Vargas grabbed a 13-year-old girl on her way to school.
So I heard her scream, and I used to teach, so I was like, they're playing, and then I was like, no, that's not a little girl playing, like she's in distress.
Tori King walked the girl to school and said two young men who are Penn Treaty students ran to help.
He said the guy came up behind her, grabbed her almost in a chokehold. She's so cute. She's like, but I take self-defense classes, so I was able to get away.
On Tuesday, they believe Vargas groped a 36-year-old woman in the 1500 block of Palmer Street while she was placing her child in her vehicle. Both incidents happened between 8 and 9:30 in the morning in the same area. The Fishtown community rallied, sharing information.
For a few people on there knew exactly who it was, and if they have anything to say, they speak up.
Neighbors say there are more than 2 incidents, all within blocks of each other, with a similar description of the suspect. Families of students who attend nearby Amy at James Martin Middle School are being asked that students not be at bus stops or walk alone. Residents remain alert.
I mean, I've always been alert, so it hasn't changed the way that I walk. It's the city.
And Philadelphia police say that he's wanted for harassment and assault charges for 2 incidents.
Man, if you're in the Fishtown, Philadelphia area, please be careful, ladies, and watch your daughters, mothers and fathers out there, because I mean this is insane. He tried to steal a little girl and then groped another woman while she had her child with her, trying to load the baby into the car. Man, lock this man up. I hope they find out who this is. We don't got no place for people like this. He needs a specific type of reforming, for sure. Oh my goodness. Chat. Whoo. This is a deep one right here.
Out of the heartbreaking details released today following a family tragedy in Bucks County. Investigators revealed today that the 3 victims struck and killed by an Amtrak train in Bristol last night were a father and his 2 sons. Action News has learned that the father, a mental health advocate, and one of his sons were trying to save the other, who was in the midst of a mental health crisis. Action News' Walter Perez live in Bristol. Walter, just hard to wrap your head around the scope of this tragedy.
Brian, as if the story couldn't be any more tragic, authorities have confirmed, as you mentioned, a man and his son ran down here to these tracks at the Bristol train station so that man could save his other son, who is trying to take his own life. As we've been reporting, that attempt to save the 24-year-old failed. In fact, all 3 were killed. It was not hard to find people who knew and loved Christopher Cramp. The 56-year-old from Bristol Borough was known as someone who dedicated his entire life to helping the homeless and the mentally ill in Bucks County.
And this county, Chris was an adored member of our staff. And quite frankly, he was an integral and irreplaceable member of the social service organizations in Bucks County.
And investigators say Chris lost his life yesterday trying to save someone who is struggling with mental illness. That person was Chris's own 24-year-old son, Thomas. Authorities say Chris and his older son, David, ran to the Bristol train station last evening where Thomas was standing on the tracks attempting to take his own life. That's when an Amtrak train on its way to 30th Street Station in Philadelphia hit and killed all 3. Christopher's and David's deaths were ruled an accident. Thomas's was ruled a suicide. Chris's colleague, Nicholas Amy, from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, says Chris wasn't just a coworker, he was also a dear friend.
It's almost as though a piece of me went right along with Chris.
Amy also took time to encourage anyone traumatized by this case or otherwise struggling with their mental health to reach out to his organization. He adds that Chris leaves behind a legacy that will inspire his organization for years to come.
He was at every event that we had, and I don't know when he slept. So, he really, was a unique individual, and it leaves a huge gap in the community.
Yesterday's incident resulted in hours-long service disruptions between New York and Philadelphia. Service has since been restored. Meanwhile, funeral plans for all three are pending. Reporting live.
Man, that's a tragic situation for sure. So the youngest son, that's 24, had a mental problem and he wanted to go ahead and commit suicide. He wanted to get up out of here. Okay. So he ran to the Amtrak train tracks. All right. But the dad realized what was going on. Like, oh, my baby boy, my youngest son, he trying to get out of here. And I don't want him to go. He don't understand what he's doing. So him and the older son, David, they run down. The father, Chris, and the older son, David, run down there to help the younger son, Thomas, that's basically probably having a manic episode. Like, this can't be the first time. They trying their best to help him, and then all three of them pass away. Damn. And I'm not saying the father wanted to die or nothing like that. So, but I could see the father like really struggling with his son until the end, and then the train hitting both of them. And it just so happens that the dad dies. But the other son too, that's tragic. See, because in my mind, it's the dad trying to pull the younger son, Thomas, out from in front of the train, but it's the older son, David, trying to pull the dad that's pulling the younger brother, and then just don't make it. Man, that's a shame, man. That's a shame. Pray for them and their families for sure. The wife, I know she's going through it. Yeah, prayers up, man. Mental health is a real thing. If you know anybody that's struggling with mental health, please check on them. And if that's not enough, please try to get them the help they need, because, you know, specific type of help ain't for everybody. But if you call yourself a friend, you would help out. Stabbing 4. Oh, man, the news is off the chain. A cleaver. Man.
4 young girls are recovering from a horrific attack after they were stabbed and slashed with a knife and a meat cleaver. And police say it was a relative who did it. Police say it could have been worse if it weren't for the bravery of one of the victims who, despite her injuries, called 911 before police responded and shot the suspect. Eyewitnesses reported Darla Miles live in Bensonhurst with more on this story. Darla.
David, there's still a small police presence at the home of that family, large extended family who lives inside of this home. They are not here now. We did speak with them, a few of them off camera at the hospital this afternoon. They say the kids are doing okay, but overall the family is just trying to understand and get through all of this. 4 young girls and their uncle, accused meat cleaver wielding suspect Longjian Chen, all recovering at Maimonides Medical Center Monday afternoon. This as the NYPD returns to their Bensonhurst home today. Investigators now reviewing grisly and dramatic body cam video of an NYPD lieutenant and his driver coming to the rescue Sunday morning. The girls, ages 8, 11, 13, and 16, police say, were all attacked by their 49-year-old uncle. Police today now looking through his past hospitalizations for schizophrenia and his history of mental illness. It is still unclear at this point exactly what led to yesterday's series of events, but investigators say the 11-year-old girl managed to get away from the attack, locking herself in a room, giving her the opportunity to call 911. That lieutenant, hearing screams upon arrival, literally kicking down the door to gain entry into the apartment, according to the NYPD. Chen, who police say had a meat cleaver in hand, is shot 3 times, once in the head, twice in the torso. The victims and the accused suspects, who were under the same roof during the attack, are now again under the same roof recovering, expected to survive their injuries. Now, there was also a 12-year-old boy inside of the home at the time. He managed to escape and run down the street, so he was unharmed. We've also learned that the 16-year-old victim is the suspect's daughter. Reporting live in Bensonhurst, Darla Miles, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, he was definitely on some drugs. So basically, the uncle was home alone with 4, three nieces, and I guess one of them was his daughter. I mean, I feel like that's what I heard at the end. And there was a little boy in there, so he had a nephew in there too, but he ran off down the street. I know he's young and all that, but come on now. See, that's the men losing their masculinity nowadays, 2025. Brother, you can't be the only one that get away with 4 women still there. I don't care how young you are. Like you better really be younger than them. I mean, it was an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. I thought one of them was one of the girls was 13 and another one was 16. So you mean to tell me the little boy that was 12, come on. But let's not make this about him. It's about the uncle. The uncle, he had to been on, Because I'm like, where's the mom at? Where's the father at? It's just low teenage and preteen girls with no real adult supervision, obviously. And you know what, Chad? I'm thinking to myself, hold on. Did they say that the suspect survived? Because I know he got shot in the head once and shot in the chest or abdomen twice, but maybe I think I heard her say that they all recovered at the same place. Hold on. Let's run it back real quick. My bad, y'all.
The victims and the accused suspects who were under the same roof during the attack are now again under the same roof recovering.
Wow.
Expected to survive.
Hold up. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me the uncle that got shot by the police took a head shot and 2 abdomen shots and now they all up underneath it? Wait. I swear you can't make this up. And these are everyday stories. These are everyday stories that ain't nobody paying attention to. This just happened in New York. I mean, it's insane. So all I suggest is y'all stay up on y'all local news, obviously, but try to dig a little deeper in other parts of, the U.S., different regions, and, the Midwest, Southwest, Southeast. And just look and update yourself on what's going on. So just in case you see these signs around where you stay at, you may be able to better prepare yourself and be a little bit more alert. But it's your boy T-WillDaprince. This is my first episode. I greatly appreciate everybody that stayed for the whole 28, 29 minutes. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep doing episodes like this, keep giving you my opinion and my reaction. And hopefully we can build something special. As I get bigger, I'll implement different things. And sometimes I'll be on camera, sometimes I'll be off. And I'll let y'all comment and let me know what y'all prefer. But for this first video, I just told myself, just let me get my voice out there. Let me get a little content out there. And I just hope we grow. So I appreciate y'all. But before I go, man, that was some crazy shit. Chill.